So for the benefit of posterity, people watching, for Rich, and for me even, I would like to find out kind of like, you know, the brief half Metatopia version of Hal's guide to art direction and graphic design for people who are thinking about doing it for their own stuff.
Well, this kind of ties in a little bit to the stuff we were talking about on the podcast over there. When you're starting out, I don't think you should be afraid to use stock art because, you know, it's cheap and you can put it in there. Use less better art. I think you're better off having better art and less of it than having a bunch of art that is terrible and represents your product poorly. Be willing to, if you're going to commission your own art, say to an artist, I just need the rights for this for my thing, and you can do whatever you want with it otherwise when you're starting out. I think that's a good way to get better artists to work with you because they're creating something that they can do something else with afterward. You know, that's for art direction. That's where I'd go. And also cruise deviant art like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And hire students when you can, because they're new and they actually do have a vested interest in building a portfolio, and will be willing to work a little bit cheaper because they're so damn brand new. You know, but also, you know, try to pay a fair price if you can. I mean, you know, it is a fact, almost universal fact that the more you pay, the better art you'll get, and you know, up to a point. I know how much WotC pays for art. I think it's a little too much, but
it's funny. I had a guy that worked for me.
Yeah.
Jumped to Paizo and now doing working for WotC.
Yeah.
And I know what I was paying them.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now he came back to me. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm interested in a character design sketch with you. He's like, oh yeah, here's my new minimum. I'm like, dude, I'm never gonna reach that. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. No, Pathfinder. There's the midpoint. And Pathfinder pays. They don't pay what WotC does. Right. They pay a percentage of that, a healthy percentage of it, and you can get a lot of great people for that. The problem is that, you know, if people, you know, if you want people to work with you, another thing you can do is pay on publication is sort of a standard for the industry, and a lot of times, less on PDF World. A lot of times, if you're doing stuff in PDF World, you should just pay the people right away. But you can also get good people. A lot of people they'll take a little bit less money if they know as soon as they turn it over they're getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So
is there like a general, just starting out, like a guideline as to what you should be paying?
Okay, if you are offering less, even as a startup person, than $200 a page for color, you're not going to get anybody, I think, unless they're students.
Yeah.
And also look for tags like when you talk about DeviantArt where it says like personal project or something, but it works perfect for you.
Yeah.
Because they did it, and no one ever paid them for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can get publication rights on it.
That's
for
actually
not
a
lot
really
of
good
money.
point. That's a really good point. There are some people. Well, you know, here it comes down to individual artists. I mean, I have artists still who I've been working with for years that I pay more than when I started, and they probably could make Pathfinder rates, but for whatever reason, they're fast enough that it doesn't matter. Their own hourly rate is fine for them, you know, and it works out.
Yeah, we have a guy who works for me, Alex G.
Is that the guy you've been showcasing on Facebook?
Yeah.
He's great. I've been thinking of poaching him.
Oh, go ahead. I want you to poach him.
Yeah.
He charges $100 for character design.
That's
Right.
good. That's
So,
good.
and I keep telling him, dude, you need to raise your rate.
Yeah, a little
and I'm
bit.
like, you are really good. He's like, well, you know, I'm not sure. I'm just like, oh my god, and his work's awesome.
Yeah. Single figures, $100 is usually fair as long as you're like, you know, no background necessary, standing there, something like that. Like Paizo pays generally, I think, around $500 a page. So half page is going to cost you $250. And you know, because of Word Rerun and sits sort of in the product sphere, I have started occasionally being willing to step up to that if I need an artist who I know I can do that on a certain project. But you know, I've gotten sparse. Like another thing to do is fewer bigger pieces is better. Like an artist would much rather do 2 half pages for you than 4 quarter pages because it's 4 different compositions they have to work with and stuff like that. So, and I think that bigger art makes a bigger impact. I've gotten away from commissioning full pagers largely, except for covers.
I just did it recently for chapter openers. That's it.
Yeah.
Most of my stuff now is just half page or character design.
Yeah. Even for half pages, I've gotten in the habit of doing chapter headers as half pagers for a lot of times. But
Well, now I've become so lazy. I'm like, I'm not art directing anything really serious anymore. I'm looking for comic book stuff that's already set up or art's already done. Like, let's swap out people.
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's like this. I hate trying to tell them what to do. It's like they're good. They know what to do.
Yeah.
I'd like something like this with this guy and this guy. What can you do?
Yeah.
They usually give you always something better.
Yeah.
What you think you're going to get.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I also art direct with a really light touch. I mean, you know, we'll have a description a lot of times. You know, like because a lot of times, you know, I generate art descriptions sometimes myself, but I actually prefer it when the developers do it because they're more connected to the material when they're doing books. Yeah, try to art direct. Don't try to micromanage the artist so much as you know. Hire good people, give them the guidelines you want, and let them go to town. And when you're looking at artists, I would say two of the things to look for look for people who can do good composition of scenes, and look for like good lighting, because those are two things that I think are harder to, like, you have somebody who's like good on details, but their compositions are kind of off and their lighting is bad. I think those are harder to learn, I think, you know. You can always tell an artist, refine this bit a little bit more. But when you have to tell them where to make people stand to make the scene look dynamic, that's tough. That's a really tough thing to do.
You got to be careful not to have too light a touch, though. Like I put out an art description. It's a really nice piece. It's one of Brian's favorite pieces from one of our Witch Hunter projects,
Right.
where it was like, you know, Shane did a Wild West Witch Hunter treatment for us off of it, and I've got, you know, like a woman kind of like Annie Oakley. And like a Tonto figure on top of a stagecoach fighting like monsters, which turned out to be like almost owlbears, but
Right.
you know, fighting on top of like a stagecoach. But when I said I wanted someone to look like Annie Oakley, someone to look like Tonto, in my mind, Tonto was Jay Silverheels.
We'll get you this.
Was not Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get you the picture. So you
Yeah,
can see
yeah. I mean, you
know,
definitely
I
have
ended
to,
up with the crow on the head and the white face paint.
Yeah.
It's just not what I was going for.
yeah, you definitely do have to, you know, you can't get too light, but I think what Lewis was saying, it's like you hire good people, you can let them do their job, you know? It's
Plus, I think for me, the big change that happens when I started on Pinterest.
Yeah.
I started building. I've got a whole album of just
Oh, yeah.
design stuff,
Yeah.
half-page stuff, and that's, I can just go. This is what I want. This. Put them together, do something cool.
Yeah,
And
Pinterest is cool. Yeah, I use it for sourcing artists too. Like I have a big folder that's, you know, just artists I like that look interesting, and like when they come off of Tumblr. Fortunately, the one thing that was really terrible is, you remember when CG Hub went down?
Oh yes.
CG Hub went out of, there was this big art place where a lot of artists, like thousands of them, kept their digital archives of portfolios, and CG Hub just went out of business without telling anybody and took all the they shut off their servers and everybody lost their portfolios. So you'll find pictures online that were properly linked to a CG Hub portfolio so you can find out who they were,
Yep.
but it's gone. And in some cases, the artists didn't put their portfolios back up. So you'll find this awesome piece of art, and you know, even if you Google image reverse search it, it's hard to figure out who these people are sometimes.
There's a Russian artist I'm still looking for. It's been at least 7 years now.
Yeah.
And I saw this guy's piece of art. I'm like, this is great. He had some other pieces, and I tracked those down, but I could never find the actual artist.
Huh.
You know, it's just, you get to a point where you're just like, how is it possible I can't find these guys?
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
an
they
artist.
died.
I want to get paid. Why would you hide so different
Yeah,
from me?
yeah. Another thing to look at when you're looking on DeviantArt is look at who they've worked for, because that'll give you an idea of how much you're going to pay. Like if you go into somebody's portfolio and they've got a bunch of Pathfinder credits, yeah, you're maybe not going to hire them.
The guy, Sean, did art for Eminem.
Zaxi?
Yeah.
He's great.
Oh, I'd love to use him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't swing that.
Yeah, he's really great.
Well, now I think he's actually doing comics now.
He is doing. In fact, lately, it all of a sudden took me. I was like, he was having has had less time lately, and I've been like, oh wait, he's doing a comic book. That's right. So I have to figure in. But I found some other people. There's a guy named Domenico Nazzetti that I've used.
Oh, I used him.
He is fantastic. I love that dude. He's awesome.
I gave him a lot of like, do whatever you want, man. This is what I want.
Yeah.
He's very flexible.
Oh yeah,
Surprised.
he worked on our Cosmic Handbook, and there's this great piece in there where he did. You know, we were basically like a piece where it's just like, do a rip off of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he did this awesome like, instead of a raccoon, he did like a platypus, a bipedal platypus with 2 laser guns, and just it's fantastic. And he also did this he did the archetype for that, and it's like a hedgehog. It's really good. And so, you know, I have a habit of like, I find artists that work for me, and I just will like, I will work with you until you won't work with me, you know?
Yes.
So, another thing is, if you see work for computer game companies, do walk away. I mean, it's just,
those guys.
they want so much money. At the same time, you know, I will never fault anybody who can't work for my rates, because, you know, I know where we are and what we can pay, and if you can't work for me, that's cool. And like I said, occasionally I'll step it. There's a Mexican artist I work with that, you know, I'll pay him, you know, $400 a page rather than $300 or something, just because sometimes, you know, he's really good and it's worth it. You know, sometimes it's worth it to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about these pieces; they'll be fine. So here's the other warning sign: if you ever find an artist who is amazing and they haven't worked with anybody big, or they're not working with them right now, and you can't understand how somebody has to snap them up, there's usually a reason.
Well,
So, you know, sometimes they're frauds, and sometimes they're just like, they're incapable of working professionally at all. So, you know, just be careful with that.
Don't pay him in advance for that.
Yeah, don't pay them in advance for that. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so if that's art direction and working with artists, how about from like a layout perspective?
Get InDesign CS immediately.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Already done.
Yep. Good.
Pick up Robin Williams' graphic designers or non-designers.
Non-designers.
You know what's funny is I actually, on Fred's recommendation, I picked it up and I'm going to read it because I never have.
It's really good.
Yeah.
No,
One of the things I want to do is start making a little bit of time every week to actually read. You know, I've got a bunch of design books I piled up, and just read them. But yeah, that book is fantastic.
it's a quick read. You can read it now.
Yeah, I've got it at home. It's just been a matter of doing it. So I'd say that. What else do you think is a good starting thing?
I mean, I thought that was the best one. And there's like little designer cookbooks. Little small books. They're yellow. They're all different. They're great for like layout. If you don't know anything, it's a great little start. I think those are great little books.
And honestly, my advice is in terms of layout stuff, steal. Look at people's books. I mean,
homage.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean by steal. Look at stuff that you think looks great and figure out how to do your own take on that, and that's the way to do it.
Okay, good. So I don't have to feel bad. That's exactly what I've been doing with looking at your stuff.
That's good. No, like for instance, for the Feng Shui
Next time I know it's going
for
really
the Feng
good.
Shui 2 layout,
Content.
I took like 12 books that I've done by people that I like, and I just spread them out on my bed because one thing that I've discovered, and I don't know if you have as well, is I can look at my own look at it and be like, man, I have crutches, I have habits, I have things I always do. I'm king of like the 2-column spread, header one and all this kind of stuff. And you'll want to start doing new stuff, but just so I spread out 10 books on my bed with spreads that looked interesting, and I just looked at them and I was like, what do I like about these that would be different than what I usually do? And I found some stuff that looked different. So just look at other people's work is the biggest thing to do it.
Right now I'm stuck doing writing and layout at the same time. It's like I write and I'm like, I need it to look like this, and I'll change it.
Yep. Plus, you're trying to make it look 5e, so you're trying to borrow all the different stylistic elements of the 5e stuff to make it match up.
Do yourself a favor, go on like Shutterstock. They have tons of layout there. I always find for cover ones. That's my favorite. I'll find a cover that I like that they design. I'll take it apart and figure out like, okay, what do I like this move this around. It saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's just especially when you're a one-man show. All you do is spend time doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah. I'd say also try to, I guess if you're going to do a line of things, try to pick something, just a look for them and keep with that look so they consistently, like you've been really good at that. Your stuff when you've done these game lines, you've done like, this is what these covers are going to look like, and they
because for a long time I kept saying, oh, my all my stuff is like, because I was looking at other people's stuff going, I can't tell my stuff from there. I'm like, well, let's design something.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I did that.
Yeah, well, it works though. It gives you it's branding, it gives you the way to go.
To look at a cover and say, okay, that's that.
Yeah, or that goes with these other things.
Well, I mean, you guys did that with. I'll never forget. I was talking to Shane about it. I'm like, why did you use that awful yellow and orange thing? And he goes, because you stand across the room, you can see the books.
Yep, the same with the green. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and we did that a little bit with True 20 too, right? Like those books are green, and they scream at you from across the room. And like, boom, green. True 20 book. So, it's. I've actually I've gotten away a little bit from standard. For like Meets and Masterminds books, now the art is kind of the thing that sells it, and I've started doing. I got really bored with doing the same type of cover over and over again, so I tried new stuff.
But that's such a great genre to pick to do covers with.
It's fun,
there's so much.
Especially, I've been using Conceptopolis for the covers. Oh, they're so good.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're great. Actually, hold on, I'll show you the cover for Euro High. I think we haven't. I think we might have shown it publicly this week, but let me see. They're not cheap. I mean, they're.
No, you know.
But
once again, a good comic cover is awesomely worth it.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing we're thinking of doing with a lot of our stuff is, again, since it's work for hire, is taking it over to like Printful and a lot. Just be like, you want this big in a canvas print put on your wall? Go to town, So who knows? But if you get like 5 or 6 of those, you've
Well, I mean, like the guy I found this new guy, Cassis something. I can't remember his name. He did X-Men 141 modified for Pathfinder.
Oh, nice.
And I was like. And when he did, I was like, you are my new cover guy. I love you. You're fantastic. And reasonably priced, incredibly detailed. I would say, and this is going to sound horrible, but it's true. I think go overseas. I do so well overseas with guys.
The only thing that'll kill you on overseas is when you're printing physical product. I sent a counts for 3 books. I spent $1,000 on shipping.
Jesus!
Well, one of them was the Pathfinder Freeport book, which is £5. That is $50 anywhere in the world. Cheapest you can get. It's ridiculous.
You can kill somebody with that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, if you ever kickstart, just put in a link to USPS postal calculator and say actual shipping.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so that they know what's going on. Yeah, because it's ridiculous. It was funny because with those books, I lost 10 pounds and just did a month through not drinking, and I was like, that's 2 of these books, I feel like this is no longer on my body, It was funny. Concept. What is this? But let me see. Is there anything else layout-wise you can think of?
Here's the one. Who do you think is the best layout person? Who's the person you're all like, oh,
The people that drive me Daniel Solis is fantastic.
oh, I'm gonna punch that guy in the face. when I
He's
see
so
him.
no, you won't because you'll meet him and he's so nice.
No, I mean, he's that incredible. It's like
Yeah.
everything you do. I'm like, really, dude? Do you
Yeah.
have to just? He looks like he's like, oh, I just made this up. Isn't this beautiful? Yes, it's amazing what you did.
Yeah, you know who else is really good and who's not a did not
So
start as a
great.
graphic designer is Fred Hicks, man. That guy's good. He read that book we were talking about and was just like, well, I learned every lesson in here. Here's a great looking book. He did Fate and all that kind of stuff, and it's really really good looking. Him, John Peterson. Guy does Lady Blackbird and he's doing Blades in the Dark and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good stuff. Let's see who else. Oh, Adam Jury.
Adam Jury.
Adam's been one of my friends for a long time. He's good.
Sarah Richardson.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it always surprised me how the industry. It always had designers. I mean, there are tons of graphic designers in it.
Right.
But everybody was like, over here, one person over here, and one guy over here, and if you knew somebody over here, and
Yeah.
then when desktop publishing became, mainstream,
Yeah.
you saw so many people put out so much stuff, and I was always like, oh my god, some of this stuff is horrible.
Yeah,
What
some
are
of
you
it's really,
doing?
really bad. George Vasilakis is really good. He's he hasn't
Once
done so
again-
much these days. But
Once again, a great designer, which I wish he would design more. I know he's got the business and everything,
Yeah.
but
well, he's been involved a little bit. Like he was doing that, Conan miniatures game that
Right.
started and stopped, but they're going to redo it again, I think.
Oh, he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, he was one of the people involved in that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's him, Mark Miller, and Shane Hindley. So, yeah. Yeah, I have no signal back here. Right now I'm trying to finish Hero High. Is the
Gotta ask him.
all right? Oh well. Hero High is the next Meets and Masterminds book, the redo of the 2E one, and then we're doing we got a bunch of Meet and Mastermind stuff, and then Faces of Thetis. I actually have the GM kit. The GM kit for Dragon Age is at press right now, and of course it's in China. It'll be here,
Yeah.
May. So,
I mean, like, especially overseas, I've seen a lot of quality work just pop out of nowhere.
yeah.
Guys you never heard of, guys you never saw.
The
all of a sudden-
L5R art just got progressively better and better as the.
Yeah, I think they struck up a really. Well, one of the things is I think they started leveraging the art, outside of just like they would get a good card done, but that piece would get used other places. Like all of the art for the L5R RPG was card
The
art
cards, of course,
because they were great.
the FFG.
Plus you paid for it. Why wouldn't that use
I
it
can
again?
identify
Exactly.
the cards.
Like the new Star Wars books.
Yeah.
There's stuff from the Star Wars LCG.
I hadn't even blown this thing up this big. This is really good.
Here, the group that was playing the superhero stuff on Mondays, which is coincidentally one of the same group that's out there right now as well, they started out using a bunch of the DC stuff, and then everything shifted into M&M.
Cool. Good.
Because they want to incorporate more and more of their own things.
That's good. That worked well then. Well done.
Excellent.
You know what I learned? You know what I learned about one of the cool things I learned about this that relates to art direction was so those book covers are all four by Alex Ross. They're Alex Ross pieces. If you'll note, only two of them are credited, the first one and the last one, because DC bought this thing. I didn't even know about this. DC bought the moral rights to the two covers that are the covers of the heroes and the villains. I forget which thing it was from.
Oh, that's
Which
Kingdom
means-
Kingdom Come.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come. They bought the rights to those to the extent that they don't credit Alex Ross for them anymore. They own it so completely
Why would they not credit the artist?
because they have bought the rights to the extent the artist's name does not have to be associated with that piece anymore. In fact, we're not permitted to credit those as by Alex Ross.
Dude, everybody knows it sounds wrong.
Right, so it wasn't a problem.
Right.
But it was just funny to me that I didn't even know that class of rights existed. That you could buy something to the extent where crediting the artist is just no longer necessary.
You've been disavowed.
Pretty much.
How much you pay for that? I gotta wonder. Is like we can't mention your name. How much is that?
I don't know. There's a list of art that when you become a DC licensor that you are just given on a spreadsheet that's like, you can use any of these pieces here free of charge because you're a licensor with us.
You now
Wow.
own 51% of your art, so.
Yeah,
Wow,
but like for instance, the DC game, there was never even a question of whether we were going to do any original stuff. I was like, no way, I don't want to touch that. So we were allowed to actually request anything we wanted from the DC art archives. I think past 2000, as long as we could ask, because they digitized everything past then, and they hadn't
Right.
done everything else. So it was pretty cool because when I found a character. Look, the one thing was great because I was able to do stuff like things you could never do, like, hey, that's a great 2-page awesome spread by Oscar Isaac from the Darkest Night saga. I'll use that for a half page. It was fantastic. It was great.
When you put stuff out, do you ever go to anybody else for advertisement? Do you just kind of promote?
It depends. Like sometimes we've done generally, like when we did the D&D stuff, we got an ad in the back of that book as part of our deal. And sometimes, like, what did we do? we did a ad swap with Steve Jackson once. We ended up advertising Castellan in the back of one of our things. Generally, I mean, if it's a company that if there's some compelling reason for sure, like if we're doing like a Munchkin, if say like we were going to do Meet Some Masterminds Munchkin, we absolutely would do an ad swap with them as a part of it. There's nothing wrong with it at all, though. I mean, and we certainly advertise our own shit in the back of our stuff. I mean, like Cosmic Handbook has 5 pages of ads because I got to the end and I was like, this book can't be made any longer, so
There you go.
here we go. That's when ads are the first thing to go and the last thing to be put in a book, because generally, when you do printing, you have to hit signatures. Generally, it's more flexible these days, right? If you're POD, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You can hit a half signature. Nobody even. It used to be like, oh, I don't know. These days, nobody even blinks. But you try to hit 16-page signatures because that's the way that the printing works out. So a lot of times it's like you'll be done with everything and you'll have done your best to build the book out. The worst is when you are say you are at 9 pages out of a 16-page signature and you just can't find any more space and you've got to fill 7 pages of stuff. So yeah, 2-page spread for the line. Character sheet.
Yeah. We did 4 each, 4 projects linked to 4 of their projects. And
That's right,
the back covers we made a logo that we
did.
put on both,
Yeah, we did.
and the back covers had the counterpart book. So their orc book got our elf book and vice versa. Their dwarf book had our giants book and vice versa. Our Mind Flayer book had their drow book, etc.
Man, I still look at those things now, though, and it looks like I took a piece of art, had a sheet of stickers with logos on it, and it just went, logos everywhere.
Well, there was a D20 logo, right? And there was a logo we made up, and then of course we're going to have our own
There
logo.
was the OGL Interlink logo, and
Right.
and there was the line logo for us that we used.